If you don't have any injuries and you're healthy and you're just in full progression mode, you should be lifting at 80 to 90%. And then there may be 1 week if you're getting ready to peak for something where you lift at 95% and even 100% when you're about 2 to 3 weeks out from um, competing. Slamming your central nervous system with an absolute maximal effort is a good way to prep your body to perform at its best when the competition day comes. All right. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining me again today. I got a question in the comments on the last video asking if I could do another one going over some mistakes I made as a beginner. And I thought that that was a great idea. And so I'm going to go over two more mistakes that I made that I think will help you no matter where you are in your arm wrestling career, whether you're a beginner, you're intermediate. I'm sure this will help if you're already an advanced arm wrestler or a national level puller. You probably already know this and you have a plan that works very well. Before we get into it though, if you like this type of video and you want to see more like it, please let me know in the comments below. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out a lot and it goes a long way. I really appreciate the support. And now let's get into these two mistakes that I made. So the first mistake that I made was not lifting heavy enough. Now, this might seem odd, especially because, most people are pretty excited to do their 1 rep maxes in arm wrestling. And I was too, but for the most part, when you are trying to progress your strength, if you don't have any injuries and you're healthy and you're just in full progression mode, you should be lifting at 80 to 90%. And then there may be 1 week if you're getting ready to peak for something where you lift at 95% and even 100%. I do think maximal efforts are definitely important. I don't think they need to be done weekly, and I don't think most people would benefit from doing them weekly. But maybe like once a month, or when you're about 2 to 3 weeks out from competing. Slamming your central nervous system with an absolute maximal effort is a good way to prep your body to perform at its best when the competition day comes, and then you start deloading into it. And, because arm wrestling is a sport and it requires essentially a maximal effort every time you get on the table, even when you're going against a much weaker opponent, a lot of times you're still drilling your move. So you're just driving sideways as hard as you can. So your training needs to reflect what you're doing on the table. So that way you don't detrain your instincts. So you don't detrain the skill aspect of arm wrestling. And this is really important because if you're constantly training at 70% effort, it's going to take your body time to get up to maximal effort and you're not going to hit your actual peak. So like, for instance, like a lot of people use those 1 rep max calculators where it'll say like, oh, they'll be like, oh, well, I did, 225 for 10 reps. So that means I can do 300 and something pounds or whatever the calculator says. And then they try to work their way up and they can't even do close to that weight. And that's because they've never trained their nervous system to move heavy loads. And another benefit of moving heavy loads is loading your tendons and connective tissues. And I've done a lot of videos in the past about tendons and connective tissues, so I recommend checking those out if you want a deeper dive. But just quickly, I will say that the more you load your tendons with heavy near maximal loads, 80, 90, 95%, more you're going to prepare them to be able to take those loads, and the more they're going to restructure themselves to be able to handle that. So if you're constantly just doing light weights and then you just go hard at practice every once in a while, not doing your due diligence to prepare your body to perform at its best without getting injured. And one thing that I didn't go over in those videos I think is really important to note, that is when you are, especially when you're doing an isometric and you're holding a maximal weight for more than just the instant of doing a rep, you're actually pulling those tendons and realigning them, because when you're just doing explosive reps, the tendon bundles actually get kind of jarbled up and then all the tendons get loose and they get out of alignment. And then when you go to do it again, if they're not back in alignment, that's another way that they get injured. So making them as resilient as possible, moving through those heavy loads, training your central nervous system, not just your body or your muscles, to move heavy loads quickly is absolutely essential. The second mistake that I made, it's going to be training way too much. And I think it's great that the larger arm wrestling community is talking about this more, and more pros are willing to come on and show how simple arm wrestling is. Like people, and you see it in the comments, like they just don't believe them. They think that they're like hiding what they're doing, or they're doing just all this volume and just not showing it, or they're just misunderstanding. Like you see a lot on Todd Hutchings videos where people are like, "How do you do that? How do you do all that? How do you train every day and this and that?" But he's not training that much. Like he's training multiple sessions a day. But he's not like he's not sitting there, for 4 hours at a time. He's training for 45 minutes to an hour, and, he's doing one or two exercises, and that's it per session. And that's one of the things that you have to learn is arm wrestling is a sport of recovery, and you cannot do too much. I know it's exciting. You just want to get in there and you want to hit everything, but you have to structure out your training in a way to where you can actually, because there's more than just, your physical standpoint. Your muscles require repair really quickly. They can repair in a day or two. Your tendons can take 6 weeks to 6 months to fully repair, depending on how much damage you did to them. And then your CNS has, you can burn out your CNS if you're not adapting it and getting it used to what you want it to do. So there's multiple different ways that you can go down the rabbit hole of overtraining without overtraining your muscles. Because again, this sport isn't a muscular strength sport. Like I wish it was. Trust me, if all it required was just lifting big weights and growing your muscles big, then I'd probably be in a lot better place in my career right now than it would be. But you have to focus on recovery. And one thing that this video is definitely going to be an intro for is starting next week. I'm going to be doing a series, kind of like a blog or a vlog, whatever you want to call it, of my actual real training. I'm going to take you through all my training days, how I structure it, my table practices, everything. So that way you can see exactly what I'm doing. I'm definitely open to suggestions or criticisms or whatever people see or think. I want to get better myself. And if there's something that I don't, I definitely want to hear it. But I'm going to take you through the whole, training that I'm doing, the training block, training week. So you guys can see, it's not as crazy as you think, and you can grow and get bigger without doing lots of crazy stuff. A lot of growing is just eating. There's a lot of people that I train with that say they have a hard time, but the realistic reason why they're not just getting bigger is just because they're not eating enough. If you eat enough, you're going to continue to grow and get bigger places that you're training. And arm wrestling trains your whole upper body. But anyway, so I'll be going through a full week, and you'll see that I don't really do all that much. I mean, it took me a long time to get to a place and a lot of studying to figure out exactly what works and how to keep myself from overtraining, what the effective amount is for different exercises, for pronation, for rise, for wrist movements, for finger movements. And yeah, it's been really great. And I think I've been making a lot of progress ever since I've kind of keyed in on getting my training locked in on point to where I want it. And I'm actually recovering. I'm able to go into table practices feeling good. I'm able to build up fatigue in a smart way and deload it off when I need it to, so I can perform at my best. And yeah, I'm just really happy to share that with you guys and see what you guys think, and hopefully it'll be able to translate to more progress for some of you. And hopefully others of you that are more advanced may see some holes or things that I can do to improve myself and my own game. But again, all this is just a long-winded way of saying that overtraining is your number one enemy. That's not to say you can't train every day. You just shouldn't be in the gym for 2, 3, 4 hours if you can do it every day. If you can only train 3 times a week, then yeah, your training sessions are going to need to be longer. But I do recommend trying to do something every day. If you have a day where you do your hands and a day where you do your pronation and a day where, now obviously we're going to go over when I do the training things, I think there's more optimal ways, especially as you get more advanced, but you should be trying to do something every day. If something feels good and doesn't feel overtrained, you can train it. Just don't hammer it into oblivion. One of my favorite sayings is from a classic bodybuilder, Lee Haney, and he always said, stimulate, don't annihilate. And I think that's something that a lot of arm wrestlers could definitely learn from and take from and apply to themselves. This video is going on longer than I expected to. I thought it was going to be like a 6-minute video, but here I am rambling as usual. I'll try to get better about being more brief in my explanations going forward. I might just kind of start writing out scripts again, or at least bullet points, so that way I stay better on topic. But you know what? We're all friends here, so um, hopefully it's not too big of a deal. But either way, hope you liked that video. I hope you're able to learn something and take something away from it. You know, I have a couple more videos this week planned. You know, that I'm going to show some training stuff, some dialogue, some conversations with people. I do have an event this weekend. I'm going to be commentating at the Armbender 2026 Armbender. You've probably seen a lot of the interviews I've been doing for it. Super excited to be commentating, and I'm going to be pulling as an official ranking, Montana ranking after pull. As soon as the event's over, I'll be going on stage and pulling Weston Teppo on the right arm. Technically, I'm ranked higher than him, but when I tried dropping down to 176. He beat me. And historically in the past, he's always kind of had my number. So I just really want to prove that I can beat him. And if he can still beat me, then he deserves my higher rank anyway. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll be sure to post it up as soon as I can, so you guys can see Weston's a beast. Can't wait to pull him. But now that I have a 20, 30 pound weight advantage, it should go in my favor. Anyways, if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time.